Yeah, there's another reason. That's true. You want people to be included, but what?
They know their chemistry, their makeup.
Yeah. So we talked about biology, psychology, social, and hope and purpose. So who knows the psychology and the social aspects of a person?
Their family.
Absolutely. Or the guardian or the carers. So you don't get a full picture of a person unless you talk to everyone that's involved in their life, with their permission, of course. Because all of those people have an exceptional and unique knowledge of the person that you're working with. So we use it to our and our clients' advantage. The more knowledge we have about an individual, the better equipped we are to help them. We listen to what they have to say. A really basic example of this is I used to manage a program that was called ASSET in the old days before the NDIS. An ASSET was basically a day activity program for people that had severe disabilities. And some of those folks had very severe mobility issues as well as intellectual issues. Now, that person's cultural background was Muslim. So by learning a few words in Arabic, we were able to figure out, that's the Arabic word for toilet, and our client understood that word. However, they no understanding of English or the word toilet. So it can be as simple as learning key words or ideas from family and carers that enables you to achieve a whole new level of communication and connection. So you can learn a lot from those people. So we include families and carers in the design of the plan. Why is that important?
Because they know their strengths and weaknesses and their aspiration and goals.
Yes, and if they know those goals and aspirations, then that means that we can all work
as a team
together. So there is no ignorance of what we're trying to achieve or why we're trying to achieve it. It means that everyone can dance the same tune. But it's all led by the client.
Yeah. Centre focus.
Yeah.
Centre person focus.
You betcha.
Centre.
Client, person
Centre focus.
practice. Person-centred practice.
Thank you.
So working collaboratively is vital. Ensures support of high quality, positive results and better outcomes for your client. Now, not only do we want better outcomes for our client, but if we're not achieving outcomes according to the goal, what can the NDIS do?
Not funding.
Yeah, withdraw funding. So, you know, if we're not meeting a goal, we either need to be very careful and record why, and record the fact that we need to change the goal, and we need to have evidence of that for the NDIS. But moreover, if we need to record progress and we need to show that we're kicking the goals. So if you push the handle in, it should lock it.
Thank you.
No problem. So record keeping is vital. But, you know, positive results for the client.
And realistic. goals.
Realistic, yes, but we're all dancing the same tune, and by achieving the goals, we're making sure that our client is getting the maximum benefit from the NDIS. Because if we set a goal and we don't achieve it, and we don't have any recorded evidence about why, then the government may say, well, you don't need that anymore. And that's not a good thing. So question 2D. So, role play. You consult with relative or carer whose individual plan you have used in activity 1D, E and 2B. Any questions they might have about the individual plan and any support that will be provided. Ensure that you are respectful and informative. So, do all three of you have a client in mind that we've discussed today?
Yep.
George?
Yeah? George, Frank, Fred. Fred? So, let's pretend that I'm involved as a carer. Okay, so we're doing role play for question 2D.
Okay. And George, he's got acquired brain injury.
Yep.
So basically, with acquired brain injury, you have to, most probably, a lot of repetition to regain that memory skill.
Yep. Okay. So I'm George's younger brother.
Yes.
I'm his sole family, and I'm curious about what you'll do to help him retain memory, to work on his memory. What sort of things do you think you'll do?
Well, with George's goals, it's for transport.
Yep.
So basically, same time,
Transport.
same place.
Yeah. Repetition.
To keep repeating
Uh-huh.
as well as
Yep.
that to come home.
Yep.
A map
Yes.
of the local area.
Yep. Maps and
Either
yeah.
because he loves his iPad,
Yep.
actually go to where it is,
Yeah.
and that can show you you're travelling to and from
Uh-huh.
the location.
Yeah.
So you know exactly where you are at this point of time.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because I know George loves his iPad. I wonder if you could set reminders for him, little
On
alarms.
his
And
calendar
yeah,
agenda for
because
each day.
yeah, George's acquired brain injury means he's got short-term memory problems.
Yes.
So giving him little reminders could really help him. What do you think?
That would be wonderful for George, little prompts.
Great. Thank you. All right.
All right, so Frank.
Frank.
Frank's bipolar.
Ah, yes. Yes, Frank's bipolar. Yeah. I'm Frank's mother. No. I'm Frank's mother, and Frank, he's 25.
Yeah.
And he was only diagnosed a couple of years ago with bipolar 1. No, bipolar 2. Bipolar 2. And so we've really noticed that when Frank's in a manic state or in a very depressed state, you know, he's really quite a danger to himself and others. What'll be great is if, have you got a way we can monitor the effect of the medications that he's taking, because they're playing around with various levels of medication at the moment.
Yeah.
So what kind of things will you guys do on shift to...
Well, I mean, you guys have done an excellent job over the last couple of years.
Thank you.
Say that because it's
Yeah.
very difficult.
It is
time
difficult.
And diagnosis.
Yeah,
So just the fact that you guys care so much and are showing an interest is great.
thank you. Yeah,
So I think what we have is quite a strict medication regime for
Yeah,
him, so
yeah.
that he has like a regular routine, so
Yeah.
therefore he can't fall into the habit of, you know, I'm a little bit manic, I can just put that off for
Yeah.
5 minutes, I'm
Yeah.
feeling okay. So,
Mm.
and we make sure that in his personal space,
Yep.
in his room, we actually have a schedule on the wall for him to
Yes.
remind him,
Yep.
with clocks always on time,
Yep.
all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The risk is that, you know, I mean, we could border on a bit obsessive with him, but
Yeah.
I think that that's overrides, it's overridden by the need for him to have stability.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he's having that, so, and we just make sure that he's in a safe environment,
Mm.
quite good
Mm.
routines around the house.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
it's, you know, so he won't be cooking or
Yeah.
anything like that at times.
Uh-huh.
He's,
Yep.
yeah, he's
One of the things the psychiatrist asked us to do for Frank was keep a chart of observations
yeah.
that sort of was a timeline when we give him medication, and we check in 2 hours after that with his mood and behaviour. Do you think that would be helpful for you guys?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
And then it's not getting too technical for you
No.
as well. So
Yeah.
it's something that we can all relate to
Yeah.
on the same level. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who comes in, who's coming in, and that's also good for the people that's
Yeah.
taking out on his outings and
Yeah,
so forth.
yeah.
So-
Well, I should put you guys in contact with the psychiatrist. Perhaps he can help set up systems for your workplace that would record information.
That'd be excellent. We could
Okay.
maybe have a group conference if Frank's up to that one day. And
Great.
actually
Yeah.
involve
Conference.
everybody.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
you'd be more than welcome to come to that.
Sure.
He's happy.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we've got Fred. Okay. So.
Down syndrome and diabetes.
Yes. Down syndrome, diabetes.
Yeah. and-
So I'm, okay, so Fred is 47 years of age, so I could be Fred's older brother. I'm Fred's older brother. So how's it going at the group home? You've got Fred living in the group home, oh sorry, boarding, but you're giving external support. So he's got one housemate. He needed another housemate, didn't he?
Yes, we are looking into that. And like, as you know with Fred, like he's very good with people. He gets along, cracks a couple of jokes.
Yeah.
So we are going taking him out in the social.
Yes.
And when he's ready,
Yep.
he will advertise it when he's ready.
Uh-huh.
So
Yep.
he will find that person.
Yeah.
So and if he gets along with them,
Yep.
no dramas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Fred's got a great sense of humour. People love being around Fred. He makes them happy. Because I'm the elder brother, I've got financial guardianship for Fred, and we are a bit worried about his budget. Have you got any ideas about how we can manage that? What we could do?
Yeah, well, when I see him next, which is next week, I'll be talking to him about saving some money, getting him a money box, or
Yep.
opening another account with his bank.
Yeah.
Putting his
Yep.
putting like 20, 50 away a week.
Yeah.
He's also working 2 days a week.
Yes.
We are
I still got the dry cleaning job.
yes.
Oh, good. That's good. Because he was worried about having to go to Cessnock. But so you've been working on that?
Yes, we are. We
Yeah.
are talking to a couple of dry cleaners, and we have spoken to where he's working at the moment.
Yeah.
With his permission,
Yep.
and we are looking into getting him up around Warners Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere
Great.
along those
Great.
lines.
Great.
But within the first month, he might have to travel down to Warners Bay.
Okay. Yeah.
We are doing our best with transport for him.
Yeah.
Even if one of our clients has to take him in the van,
Yeah.
we'll be happy to do
Yep. Great. That's great. Thank you very much. Okay. So, so all of you listened. You responded to my inquiries. You provided details about the support to me. You listened to my comments and you took them on board. You were all polite and respectful. And they're fundamentally the things that you need to do with the people that orbit your client. In fact, if you treat all of those people no differently to the respect you show the client. That doesn't mean that you'll always agree, but you must
Agree to disagree.
yeah, or be very respectful.
Of their choice.
Yeah, because it's their child. Now, how can I put this? So, as I was growing up as a boy and a young man, my parents would say, "Oh, Mark, we think he might be dyslexic because he can't write very well." Now, you raise your own children, or you have brothers and sisters, and you say, well, they're like that. And that's normal. The thing is, as a support worker, you will see behaviours and make observations that the family may not have seen. And you may become aware of potential that the family is not aware of. So that means you have to be very careful about how you educate them.
How you word it.
Yes. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because I earn a living now writing, but my parents really thought that I was dyslexic. So if somebody that was teaching me had gone to my parents and say, "No, you're wrong," then that potentially is setting up a conflict. Do you see that? So
anyone can do anything in their lives. You just keep pushing.
yes, but what I'm trying to say is this: as a support worker, you need to be very careful about how you approach family, because you may see something that a person can do that they've never seen. You see what I mean?
And if they've got concerns, like say Fred travelling on the bus, whereas you know that Fred's capable of doing it.
And they'll say, "Oh no,
No, because that's what they've been terrified of.
yeah, it's too dangerous. He can't do that." But you know he can. But you have to negotiate that carefully, because you don't want to put their nose out of joint. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And this is a reoccurring theme. I've seen it time and time again. Our kid will never be able to do that, and we've seen them do it 2 hours ago. But you have to deal with that reality tactfully and carefully. Because if you put their nose out of joint, then the whole thing can stop being effective.
And it falls out of place and we need to be.
Correct. So part of your role in the new world of NDIS as a support worker, you're a relationship manager. You're an account manager. Because you're managing the family, the guardian, all the connections between people. So the more you learn about the family's makeup, you can apply this to a family as well as an individual, the better you will be at supporting the entire cluster. Make sense?
Yes.
So can eventually, when you're handing back, just put in under 2D, role plays conducted with Mark in class, and that'll be fine. Okay, so moving on. A, B, C, D. So we're now at 2.5. Which is 2E. And what page on the learner guide is 2E?
41.
Page 41. So you might want to make a note, refer page 41 under 2E, just so you know where to go when you're completing your workbook. So, Sharon, you mentioned duty of care and dignity of risk. So we're about to dive into that and make that richer. So, duty of care refers to your obligation to take responsible care of your clients. Basically, very basically, it is no harm to your client, no harm to others, including your client, no harm to myself, and no harm to property. That is, and that duty of care comes from common law, which is the result of court precedent from the Middle Ages in England. But fundamentally it's about no harm. That is your professional obligation. Your level of support must meet those requirements. And that means that you're providing adequate care. We need to ensure clients are adequately caring for themselves. So it's part of our duty of care to ensure that the client is looking after themselves. We can't turn a blind eye.
They're neglecting.
Yes, we must act in a professional capacity, and ethically, I'd say, in any situation. Dignity of risk. Clients have the right to choose to take some risks when engaging in their life's experiences. Why is it important for people to take some risks? So, imagine that you're 15 years old and your parents are terrified that something bad will happen to you. So in order to ensure that you are safe all the time, they put you in your bedroom and put you in a special bubble which filters the air and prevents you from leaving the room. And so you are safe. Yeah? But what sort of a life are you living?
Non-existent.
Horrible life. So the other reality is that in part of the human condition is that a bit of anxiety or adrenaline adds colour to life, a richness of experience. So what that means for different people is different. For me, I love riding my motorbike because I feel closer to the environment, but I wouldn't go parachuting. That's not my thing, but for others it is. So it's all relative. So if we deny people the opportunity of taking careful and calculated risks, we are turning their life into a droll black and white grey existence. However, we have to balance dignity of risk with our duty of care. So you need to support your client in experiencing things, whether they lead to success or failure. So if your client says, I want to learn how to ride a bicycle, maybe they've got epilepsy. So you need to take protective measures. So you get helmet, elbow, blah blahs, knees, and they have a crack at it in a safe way, but doesn't work. But at least they've had the experience of trying to learn that skill, and that's a good thing. We don't want to overprotect people, and we don't tell them what to do. However, we must minimise the risk of harm, and we need to keep a record of that. We don't hinder people's right to make their own decisions. We offer them reasonable support and assistance in making decisions and following them through. So, as you all know, if you can make your own decisions in life, then you're a happier person, because it's your life, it's your journey. So we're not there to tell people how to live, but we are there to help them remain safe, but also enjoy a degree of risk.
So the
So
difference,
it's not painful then.
so the difference between someone says, I want to be a ninja,
Yeah,
it's like, all right, can't be a ninja, but why don't we go and do some self-defense or karate lessons?
sure. Or, I want to be an astronaut, and you've got 14 weeks a year respite. That's enough for us to go to the Smithsonian in America. Or it's enough to get an iPad and you can soar through the solar system with Google's solar system.
Yeah. Or you go
You know?
to the observatory.
So we're still, moving in that direction. But
Right, because I mean,
yeah.
everybody has limitations, whether they're disabled or not.
yeah,
So what, they deserve the same rights?
absolutely.
We also have
Yeah.
limitations.
And how do we learn our limitations?
From mistakes
Absolutely.
and learning from mistakes.
And experience. Life and having experience adds, it's like icing on a cake. The cake, yeah, it's okay. Icing.
The mixtures.
But when you got the icing, the cake goes from okay to yummy.
The ribbon on the package.
Yeah.
I'll still go.
Okay. So, here's the nub. We've got to balance duty of care, dignity of risk. We've got to balance it. And we've got to do it in the workplace. It's about finding a balance between duty of care, dignity of risk. Supporting clients to be independent means letting them make their own decisions and taking risks. How can you do this while ensuring their safety? For example, an elderly client wants to remain living alone in their own home. They are unsteady on their feet and prone to falls. How can you respect their decision and risks associated with it while keeping them safe? Yeah, so if you look at 2E in the workbook, you have that scenario, and I'll read it through. An elderly client is adamant they want to continue to make their own meals rather than have a worker come in to do it. They have an unsteady hand and have previously burnt and cut themselves. You know that it is unsafe for them to continue making their own meals, but need to respect their wishes. What would you do? How would you balance duty of care requirements with dignity of risk requirements? So what professional would you consult with?
I would consult with his family member first.
Yes.
If he doesn't have one, or be consulting with his friends out of his permission, of course.
Think about professional people.
Occupational therapy.
Well,
Yes. Dietitian, occupational therapist. Now, an occupational therapist can do an assessment. So, on your strength, if you've got arthritis, maybe you need special handles, a knife guide for the cutting board. Maybe you need special tap on and off. You can use your elbow.
I
Do you-
think I'm along a different line to Elizabeth.
Yep, that's okay. But think about, because you and I are not occupational therapists, but we know if we consult with one, we can get evidence and information to support a particular course of action. Yeah? So, what else could you do?
You could have medic alerts, or, a medi alert, so that if they do injure themselves, they can...
Hit the button, call the cavalry. Yep, perfect.
Service providers to come in,
Like,
a support worker,
or,
respite,
or,
Community worker,
or,
meals on...
yes,
I
yes.
thought they didn't want,
yeah,
they wanted to keep
keep
cooking.
cooking.
Ah, so what's a compromise?
Cook one day, meal the other day.
Or,
Have someone come in to supervise.
Or
If
to
it was company.
assist.
or
Yeah.
half prepared meals.
Oh, can you get half prepared?
Well, you'd figure out a way.
Yeah.
Well,
Make some full.
in the end,
Microwave feeds are pretty good, actually.
yeah. In the end, with my aged father, he's gone to heaven, but he's up there somewhere. He might be fishing, I think. I think he's probably fishing.
Mine's at the pub.
So the family would cook extra and put it in a Tupperware, and so he's sticking the thing, hit the button, he's preparing it, heating it up, dishing it up.
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's a compromise. The other thing is, we want equipment and tools in the kitchen that reduce the risk of burning, because it's said in the scenario he's been burnt and he's cut himself. So you can get things like knife guides that minimise risk of cutting.
I don't need them in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Blender.
Serving utensils. You can get people with Parkinson's now can get serving utensils that have a stabiliser in the handle.
You can also get plastic ones from the shop.
Okay, great.
Like the forks and spoons and...
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff, yes. It might be an option.
Sorry.
Yeah, so do you understand what we're saying here? So the first two questions, what is duty of care, what is dignity of risk? I think I'd advise you to Google those two terms.
What
And
terms?
the first two questions,
Oh, dignity
Yeah.
and duty of care.
yeah, Google those two.
Oh, now.
Not right now, but
Oh, I thought you were.
whenever. But for the scenario, you've all got an idea of the kind of thing that you'd want to write. So, you know, maybe or the other thing could be certificate 2 in cookery, and maybe there are low effort menus that client could learn. Do you see where I'm heading with that? There are community kitchens as well. So maybe our client would enjoy an outing to the community kitchen where with support he can prepare his own meals, and you know, he's got all the Tupperware, and yeah, he's able to manage his requirements that way. All right. So now we're moving into 2.6 in the learner guide, which is
46.
page 46, and activity 2F. Provide assistance to maintain a safe and healthy environment. So what do you think we're going to be talking about?
WHS.
WHS. Workplace safety. It is the responsibility of everyone, designed to benefit everyone. You can contribute by being generally considerate and applying common sense. Some hazards can seem quite insignificant, trivial, but they can have serious consequences. Many hazards can be tackled simply and quickly. Contribute to safety. A problem arises when a staff member is too lazy or inconsiderate to address issues and chooses to ignore them or leave them for the next person. This type of behaviour is bad practice and can have serious consequences. The workplace should aim to establish a team culture where everyone pulls their weight and looks out for one another. 2F. Identify 3 potential workplace hazards.
Spills, drips, chemicals.
Okay, let's be a little bit more specific. So what might you trip on?
Chairs, cords.
Yeah? Cords?
Uneven surfaces.
Yeah, so carpet that is loose carpet.
Frail.
Yeah.
Shag.
Yep, could be.
Getting too far.
What else would you slip on?
Spills?
Yep.
Yep.
So
Your own feet.
wet floor.
Yeah.
And thinking of equipment,
Leaving chairs out from the dining, out like this chair, for example.
yeah, it could be a trip hazard, yes. Or maybe you've got a power board and you see the power light flickering, which is an indication then it may need electrical attention. So,
Better get a new one.
so have you got the 3 examples?
I've got more than that,
Okay.
just,
Yeah, all right, just have 3 examples. What could happen for each of those 3 examples you come up with? What could happen if those hazards went unnoticed or unreported? So, if you've got a carpet you're going to trip on, what could happen?
broken bones.
Yeah,
Injury.
you could smack yourself in the noggin on the coffee table or something. Yeah, so you could have.
Permanent injury.
You could be seriously injured. What could happen if you leave a wet floor?
Yeah.
You could be seriously injured. What would happen if you didn't attend to the broken equipment?
Is that?
Someone could be seriously injured. Okay?
What was that question?
This is
No, I know that is number 2, on like the last sentence you said.
with all 3 of the examples of
Yeah, you write them down, and if they happen to go unnoticed and unreportable, but you said something like...
what would be the consequence of people not taking action. So the outcome for all 3 could be very serious injury or even death. So that's question 2. So question 3 is, how would you rectify the hazard?
New lining?
So you're not the repairman, you're the support worker.
Contact someone to repair, so...
Before that,
Hazard forms, documentation.
before that,
Ensure a safe environment, so put in a safe temporary measure.
cordon off.
Cordon off.
So you'd isolate the hazard on shift. That's the first thing you'd do. What's the second thing you might do?
Documentation.
Not quite.
Clean it up.
Yeah, you might, if it's a spill, clean it up.
Yeah.
Or if it's loose carpet, maybe there's a temporary measure you can do to,
Sticky tape.
or gaffer tape, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mask tape.
Yeah. If it's an electrical device, you're unplugging it, aren't you?
And remove
You're tagging it. Do not use.
I try and tell people to, if they're doing anything like that, I tell them get some rubber, like rubber glove or something,
Sure.
and grab it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whatnot. That
Yeah.
will, the circuit will still run through the rubber, but it will not run in your body.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, basically we cordon off, minimise the risk. Take temporary measures if possible. Put in incident report, and then either we directly or whoever's responsible would call for professional help. And really that's a summary of what you'd do for any.
Plan it up, put
Yeah.
it in incident report,
Yep,
get a professional.
you betcha. But really you'd follow the policy and procedure of the company you work for. So there may be someone on staff that's maintenance officer or whatever, or else you'll be told as support worker, if you become aware of a problem, this is what you need to do.
And discuss it in the WHS committee.
Yeah.
meetings.
Well, hopefully your incident reporting system, and most companies have them, will automatically put it on a register.
On their agenda.
Yeah, for the next meeting. Yes. So, we good with that? Yep.
That was on page 46, yeah, it was. 46,
Okay, so now we're going to activity 2G, which is 2.7 in the learner guide. And this is focusing on maintaining a clean and comfortable environment. Now, do you think everyone finds the same things comfortable?
No.
No. So my idea of what's comfortable is potentially different to all of yours, isn't it? I might love this chair to sit in, but you might go, oh, I hate it. And that's okay. So the reason I'm saying this is that comfort, the idea what is comfortable, is all about the individual. Does that make sense? So, first of all, we're talking about clean environment, but we're also talking about comfortable environment. So in terms of clean environment, a clean environment is crucial. Reduces risks to health and improves client safety. Yeah? A clean environment should include physical cleanliness of surfaces and tools, low risk to health from microorganisms, access to safe clean water, access to basic sanitation, low risk of cross-contamination, low risk of infection, safe disposal of waste. Now, if you folks end up working in group homes, then this is so important, because even just a bout of gastro can cripple a group home for months. So it's so important that we follow our procedures. So, how do we maintain a clean environment? Well, we practice good hand hygiene. So you sing happy birthday to yourself twice while you rub between fingers, round wrist, etc. Maintain good personal hygiene. Keep up to date with relevant training. Clean spills of bodily fluid correctly. Make yourself familiar with relevant guidelines, policies, procedure. Wear the correct PPE, personal protective equipment. Follow the rules in regards to hygiene, cleaning equipment and tools according to instructions and guidelines. So we do in this course 2 WHS units. This is just a very brief interlude. So that's the idea of clean. Now it's the idea of comfortable. And as we said earlier, this is a relative idea, and it requires individual understanding of the people you're working with. A comfortable environment should provide physical comfort, ease and relaxation.
Stress-free.
Yep, free from stress or anxiety, homely, create a welcoming atmosphere, clean and safe, allow people to feel secure, be pleasant and enjoyable.